Coach Danny Cruz leaves behind a legacy after his departure from Louisville City, plus Open Cup results and Matchday 3 reunions. Welcome to Talk USL. Talk USL. Come on, latest scores, news, and developments in the second highest division of the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday, March 23, 2026, after a match day 3 in the USL Championship. So much to talk about. I totally forgot there was even Open Cup action, believe it or not. Yes, I make mistakes from my side. I haven't prepared for as lengthy as an episode. It's been a lot of time poured into the podcast, but wouldn't want it any other way. That's for sure, after previewing the upcoming season. But obviously, we need to get into a big blow for Louisville City, but a best of luck to Danny Cruz as he departs after leaving behind a tremendous record in Kentucky for what he's achieved with the Royal Purple LouCity squad, Jack Harlow's squad, we could even say. Now, tremendous stuff from his side. We'll talk about what he's leaving behind there, who's taking the charge, as well as what's next for LouCity, plus what's next for Danny Cruz. Where is he going? Where has he gone? What was the opportunity that drew him away from Kentucky? We're going to talk about that. Obviously, as always, goal of the week last time around. Plenty of Open Cup from the first round in the 111th installment of the Lamar Hunt Open Cup. We'll get into match day 3, which brought a lot of reunions. I'm talking, a lot of former players returning to their old stomping grounds. Some for better, some for worse. But that is so much to get into, and it's been such a busy Sunday as I'm recording here in Central Europe. I also have my guest, the first guest of Talk USL. I'll be recording my interview with him today. He'll be on the West Coast side. I'll be on the Central European side. So I'm doing the interview around 9 p.m. over here. He's gotten back from his trip to Sacramento this past weekend, if that gives any clues out there. But you'll be seeing that in the middle of this week. I'm so excited for that. The first time you even get to see what Vince Galvano looks like. You've only heard my voice, but you've never seen the man behind the microphone. I kid, but no, it's very exciting stuff at the same time. I really appreciate everyone always listening. It takes a lot of time out of my schedule, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I love this sport, love soccer. I love American culture, I love American soccer. Just put it that way. We are everywhere podcasts are available. We can be found on all social media platforms with Talk USL as the handle. You can always reach out to me on DMs, or you can email me at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. Feel free to always reach out. What are you enjoying? Like to see more of your listening habits? Anything. I'm happy to start a conversation. But more so, please leave a review on your preferred listening platform. Share our podcast with friends, family, fellow USL fans, anyone. Your support, as always, is greatly appreciated, whether it's 1 star, whether it's 5 stars. Just the fact that you take the time to give back a review means the world. So really would appreciate that. All right, next call of action, and then we'll get into the show. It's going to be a long episode. I'm talking about a lot of games, so take a look at the show notes. Take a look at the timestamps. Feel free to move around a bit. If you're not too interested in the U.S. Open Cup action, if your team's not into it, then just skip to the match day 3. But you're certainly going to want to hear about Danny Cruz and what he left behind at LouCity, just so that you know a little bit of the big news that had happened this week. Also, if you're looking for an update regarding to the USL Players Association and the collective bargaining agreement with the league, still at a standstill. Still negotiating, I should say. Obviously, the protest vote we know has gone into effect if they decide to do that, the players, but it is the 3rd week in a row where we are getting the first 60 seconds of each and every fixture for a moment of silence, per se, from the players not playing, to bring more awareness to the protest against USL and this whole collective bargaining agreement between the two parties, the Players Association and the league in itself. All right, so let's talk goal of the week, and then we'll get into Danny Cruz. Let's talk goal of the week. Last time, the USL Championship Fans' Choice Goal of the Week for week 2. The 4 candidates were Ray Serrano, Abraham Okieri, Alex Mendez, and Isan Sako. I voted for Okieri here. I love his curler for Las Vegas against Colorado. The Ghanaian bagged his first brace in the championship as he capitalized on a loose pass with a pinpoint finish. You also had Ray Serrano in this one. The 23-year-old produced a spectacular strike from 25 yards out that picked out the top right corner against Miami. Alex Mendez for El Paso had the free kick against Monterey Bay. Former United States International fired home. So it was a long range that just dipped right inside the 6-yard box, but it was Phoenix player Isan Sako, the French striker, delivering a tremendous strike from distance that clipped the inside of the left post and caromed home late in the first half against Orange County with 60% of the fan votes. So congratulations, Phoenix fans, showing up for their player in this one. All right, we got to talk one of the biggest stories this week in the USL Championship. Danny Cruz departing Louisville City, originally reported on March 17 on USLChampionship.com. One of the biggest managerial stories in the USL Championship, arguably this season, arguably of all time, but the legend, he is legendary status, and we'll talk why Danny Cruz is out at LouCity. The club announced that Cruz has departed to pursue a new opportunity in professional soccer, ending a hugely successful tenure at the Royal Purple Club. What he leaves behind, we'll talk about where he's going as well, because that also came out immediately following the announcement the day after on March 18. But Cruz leaves as LouCity's longest tenured and winningest head coach. So leaving for all the right reasons, and his impact on the club has been massive. During his time in charge, LouCity won back-to-back Player Shields in 2024 and 2025, claimed an Eastern Conference title back in 2022, set multiple club records, including a 24-win season back in 2024. He also became the youngest and fastest coach in league history to reach 100 wins. I mean, there's some of the high impact stats that we can talk about when it comes to Danny Cruz and the legacy that he's leaving behind. He's averaged 2 points per game across 165 matches, the second best in USL Championship history, albeit with a minimum requirement of 50 games, leading the helm of just any club. Led Louisville to a 25-game unbeaten home streak, among the longest in league history. And then if you look back in last season, an averaging of 2.43 points per game, which is a league record, only one loss all season. And it's not just the impact that he has from wins, losses, and draw column. Not just that, but the development angle. You know, he helped develop players like the Winder brothers, who turned into record transfers out of the league. He played a key role in developing top talent. Look at Jonathan Gomez, who was the Young Player of the Year, who made a transfer to Europe. Joshua Winder went to Benfica. Elijah Winder went to LA Galaxy for a domestic record transfer once that happened. You know, gave opportunities to countable, many young players. Brandon Days was also, 18 years old when he broke into the first team. Across all competitions, he's posting 106 wins, 37 losses, 34 draws, sustained dominance in the USL Championship. So where is the, greener and hopefully brighter pastures for Cruz? Well, it's Major League Soccer. It's landing in the MLS at Minnesota United. This reported on March 18, 2026. The source is Minnesota United's official website. We didn't have to, wait long to find out where he was headed. So he's now been hired as the assistant coach with Minnesota United, joining the staff under head coach Cameron Knowles. He'll also work alongside veteran coach Tom Zoen as part of his first team setup. You'll remember Tom Zoen, after the 7 years he's been in charge of coaching Birmingham Legion, especially when they joined the USL Championship back in 2018, since their inaugural season back then. Tom Zoen was a big part of Legion. Across 82 games, he had 37 wins, 17 draws, 28 losses, right? Minnesota highlighted Cruz's energy and communication, strong defensive identity, the ability to develop and connect with players. So it's a solid coaching staff, don't get me wrong. Minnesota United has poached the USL Championship before. We talk about Dieng from Hartford, who got picked up in the midst of last season. But why this matters, it's a big move, not just for Danny Cruz, but I think also for the league. I mean, this is just another example of USL Championship producing not just players, but coaching talent that moves up to the MLS. USL, it's not just the players, it's coaches as well. That's always the goal. How can you develop or try out something new in your career? I think a great example of this is the work that was done in England with Graham Potter. I think is also a great example back when he transformed Brighton's style of play for the seasons that he was in charge. I think you can also add Thomas Frank to that list. If you just look in the Premier League as an examples, right? Thomas Frank of that list for revolutionizing Brentford and the way and the values that the club had, the culture of the club, instilling a strong-minded culture in that regard. When you look at coaches that have the opportunity to just take it to the next step, Graham Potter going to Chelsea, Thomas Frank going to Tottenham, it's hard to say no, especially when you feel that you've done everything that you can, right? Because you owe it to yourself to at least try. You can always go back in a way. You could, and maybe it's not the same, but if you never know, you never know. And although Graham Potter didn't succeed at Chelsea, he did go back to West Ham, and albeit didn't succeed again. Nice paycheck. But Thomas Frank, from his standpoint at Tottenham, he got the first experience coaching a Champions League side and did quite well with the Tottenham side that arguably might be the ones relegated this season. Obviously not so good in the league. But you owe it to yourself to try it, to give it a shot. I mean, from Danny Cruz's side, it's not a head coach position, but it's something that just brings you up to a next step. It's exciting. I think also you work alongside a good coaching staff. Someone like Tom Zone, who's been it and done it for many years at Birmingham, who's built a successful program over there when he was there, right? There's maybe more opportunities, more enticing, and we'll talk about who he leaves behind. Who's going to take over for LouCity. This reminds me, before we talk about that, is my first year of covering the USL Championship League. Head coach Morten Carlson for Orange County, if you recall. The Danish native, the native of Copenhagen, he made USL Championship history when he was here. He became the first coach to win the league's Coach of the Month award in consecutive months, July and August 2023. He led Orange County's rise from 11th position at the time of his last appointment to a second place finish in the Western Conference. He had a 22-13-6 record with 1.76 points per game. Obviously not what it was under Danny Cruz, but I'm just giving you an example of he went to go to the Danish Superliga club, Lyngby Bold Club at the time. So he had an opportunity. He had to take it. He returned home. And we can't deny him that. Can't deny anyone of that. Right, you owe it to yourself to take it to the next step if you feel that you're ready for it. Otherwise, don't get too comfortable per se. But what Danny Cruz has accomplished here is really remarkable stuff. And what happens next? Where does he leave LouCity? Well, can Louisville? That's the question. Can Louisville maintain their standard without Cruz, or does this mark start a new era, a better era? Possibly. Well, let's take a look at the personnel. Simon Bird takes over as the interim head coach, a native of England, Lincoln, England. He's been deeply rooted in Louisville's soccer community. He joined the LouCity first team as an assistant coach back in 2021 after working as a director of the LouCity Academy and previously starred for the University of Louisville from 2001-2004, earning Conference USA Player of the Year in 2003. 42-year-old Simon Bird, as a new interim head coach, followed his collegiate career with a 6-year professional career in England before returning to the University of Louisville as an assistant coach from 2009-2012. He has a United States Soccer Federation A license holder. Bird has also previously worked at Oldham Soccer Club's director of coaching and Kentucky Fire Juniors boy director. So obviously a lot of coaching under his repertoire for being 42-year-old, being with an assistant coach for a couple of seasons with Danny Cruz. In addition to that, you have Paolo Del Piccolo, who steps in as the first assistant coach, former LouCity midfielder for 8 seasons, former captain for 7 seasons. Del Piccolo had 6 trophies overall, 2 USL Championship titles in 2017-2018, 4 Eastern Conference titles in 17-18, 19, and 2022. Ranks among club leaders in minutes played, 15,397, 227 appearances, assisted with the first team last season, now moving into a full-time first assistant team role. He holds a United States Soccer Federation B license, currently pursuing that A license. But, from Simon Bird, Paolo Del Piccolo, they got the first win in the U.S. Open Cup. We'll talk about how they performed in the USL Championship shortly in their debut there. But it seems there's a good lineage of what's being left behind. These are 2 guys that obviously care and have been already ingrained in Louisville City's culture. So it just makes sense. It's just the way the process goes sometimes in this world of soccer. But best of luck to all 3 of those guys as they take the next step in their coaching career. And like I said, it's just another example of championship producing talent in the soccer community to take it to the next level. And that might include MLS, that might include Europe. It's always interesting and always fun to talk about. All right, let's get into the U.S. Open Cup. Something I failed to I neglected to mention last time around. Just completely went over my head, and I was like, wait a second, there's a bunch of games going on. So I talked about them in the preview of the season, this 3rd season of Talk USL. Obviously, what's at stake? It is the 111th installment of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. I talked about that, the fact that the number of rounds were reduced by 1. Because there's a lot of games going on. There's the World Cup that are coming. Qualifying requirements have been altered as well. It's the 2nd year in a row where the winner is not participating. Last year we had LAFC. This time around we have Nashville that are not able to defend their title just because winning the U.S. Open Cup has garnered them a qualification to the CONCACAF Championship Cup. All right. We also talked about the big number. USL Championship had only said 17 teams into the tournament, which is drastically different than sending all the USL Championship teams. How did you get in? Well, you just look at the 2025 table. It was all the teams that entered the playoffs and the postseason for the USL Championship, and then that next team outside of the playoff consideration. North Carolina FC not competing due to not fielding a team this year. That's the odd number, 17. All right, so we talked about that. Also, MLS situation, 27 American clubs. These are only American clubs in the U.S. Open Cup. 16 are participating. Those that did not participate are the ones in CONCACAF Champions Cup or the Leagues Cup. So there you go. And MLS, since it's Division I league, they enter in the round of 32. So first round just took place this past week. 8 UPSL teams, that's United Premier Soccer League, 5 National Premier Soccer League teams. There was 10 USL League 2 teams, 13 USL League 1 teams, 2 MLS Next Pro teams, and 17 USL Championship teams, right? So 64 teams in the first and second round. So lots to get into, a lot of matches to cover, but we're going to focus primarily only on the ones that involved USL Championship teams. If I recall at the end of this, I'll talk about some of the other results as well, and obviously preview what's ahead because we'll have the round of, I think it would be this, they said the second round, I think it's 64 teams. That's March 31st to April 1st. So let's get into that. But I should mention that the Riverhounds match, Pittsburgh, was postponed with Steel City. That was due to the inclement weather. That game has been postponed to March 25th at 7 p.m. at Highmark Stadium. So just an FYI for the defending USL champions. That game will take place this week in 2 days' time. So let's talk about a lot of games to get into. I'll start in Phoenix, and we'll talk as much as we can in terms of the storylines, but I'll just really mention the goal scorers and things to keep in mind when talking about some of these teams. So Phoenix took on San Ramon on Tuesday night. Last Tuesday, it was a clean 4-0 win. Hope Aveyevu, Juan Carvajal, Alexander Vukovic, and Anthony Capetillo each found the net as they advanced comfortably against San Ramon FC. I think a moment that we'll never forget here is just at 16 years old, Anthony Capetillo became the youngest goal scorer in Phoenix Rising history, scoring his first pro goal in that 4-0 win. And the youth movement is growing. One of the storylines to take away from this, 5 teenagers, 4 of whom who came through the club's academy, were named by head coach Pamadou Ka for this one. Headlining, obviously, was Capetillo with the goal. 16 years, 4 months old. Think about that, coming up with a late finish. But you also had Isaiah Ramirez, Jamison Ping. They each recorded assists. You had fellow academy product Noah Cross, who went 75 minutes in the back line to round out that quartet. So 4 teenagers. Rising posted an average starting lineup of 22.3 years old in that opening first round match. Pamadou Ka had said, quote after the game, that he's very proud of the kids. When you talk about finishing, Capetillo is one of our best finishers. Today he was one of our best players. I'm very happy with Ramirez. He came into the preseason locked in, and today he could have had maybe multiple assists, but the overall performance is what I'm proud of. So Phoenix Rising's youth movement is growing, and that's a great sign. 2,274 in attendance at 38th Street in Washington for Phoenix Rising's, solid matchup against San Ramon. Another 4-0 victory was Rhode Island FC against Club Deportivo Fayalense. I think the CD is Club Deportivo. This at Centerville Bank Stadium on Tuesday night. Danny Rovira, CJ Williams, Nick Scardina were all on target as Rhode Island cruised past Club Deportivo Fayalense with 2 goals in either half at Centerville Bank Stadium. There was an own goal at the end, and the 80th minute courtesy of Willis, but 4-0 comfortable win for Rhode Island. They see themselves through. Another comfortable win went to Detroit against Michigan. This one had to be taking place at the Legacy Center Fieldhouse just because it was so cold in Michigan that the match had to be put indoors. There were some really nice goals in this one. Michigan, though, they took the lead in the 6th minute. It was a free kick from Baroni to give Michigan Rangers the 1-0 lead, but then from then on, about less than 15 minutes later, or roughly 15 minutes later, that's when Detroit started getting to the game. Talking about Tabor Itaka Preston scoring twice. Alex DeLoe notched 1 goal, 2 assists. Detroit rallied from that early deficit, pulled away late in a comprehensive victory, 5-1 against Michigan Rangers at the Fieldhouse in Brighton, Michigan. DeLoe assisted Rodriguez in the 56th minute. Then Rodriguez returned the favor in the 65th minute for DeLoe. DeLoe added his 2nd assist of the night as he led the counterattack quickly upfield, threaded that pass to Atis Juf for a low finish in the bottom left corner. So that's just a great, solid performance from Detroit City in an indoor tight parameters. DeLoe's goal was really nice, curler. If you haven't checked it out, it's definitely on US Open Cup official socials there. Westchester took on Loudoun at the YSC Sports Complex. Loudoun on the road here. Marcus Diaz and Elvis Amo each recorded a goal and assist as Loudoun advanced past Westchester United for his 2nd consecutive Open Cup after a hard-fought contest in Wayne, Pennsylvania. Former Sacramento Republic FC Academy product Jackson Martin, now at Princeton University, capitalized on United goalkeeper Ethan Bondre's mishandling of a shot. That was the only goal for Westchester in this one, but it was too little too late as the game had ended, 2-1 in favor of Loudoun. Colorado Springs Switchbacks took on Azteca FC at Widener Field. Jonas Feldberg scrolled early, and then Christian Herrera made a key penalty kick save as the Switchbacks advanced past Azteca, with late goals from Sada Mazareka and Corey Bennett icing the result for the hosts. So Azteca probably earned that penalty kick as Giovanni Herrera was brought down in the box by Brennan Creek of Colorado Springs. But Christian Herrera made the big save, shot to the right side before Edgar Olivas blazed the rebound chance over the crossbar to keep the hosts ahead. Could have been a different game had that went in, but no problem for Colorado. They responded 2 late goals again from Mazareka and Bennett. 3-0 in favor of Colorado. Also 3-0 in favor of Indy 11. They advanced to the 2nd round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It pulled away for a 3-0 victory against USL League's 2 Des Moines Menace at Grand Park Events Center. And it was Loic Mintavi, the Togolese player, who got the scoring underway in the 31st minute. Then 2 Second half goes from Noble Okello and Charlie Sharp, all scoring their first goals for the club at Grand Park Championship Field. Solid 3-0 win for Indy 11. FC Motown took on Hartford Athletic. They were hosting Hartford. And it was midfielder Andres Hernandez who had a goal and an assist, while goalkeeper Enzo Carvalho picked up a shutout in his first career start. It was Hernandez who had set the tone early for Hartford, swinging in a pinpoint corner kick that TJ Prestis met with authority, heading home his first goal of the season, what was also his first start of the year. Then the midfielder in the second half stepped up to a free kick later and curled a sublime effort into the back of the net, sealing the victory and capping off a brilliant individual performance with a goal and an assist on the night. Collinsville pressed there with the coverage. The rest of the coverage coming from USLChampionship.com, the USLChampionship.com staff. Let's take a look at Louisville City. LouCity at Lynn Family Stadium against Southern Indiana. It was LouCity's new interim head coach that led his team in competitive action for the first time in a 2-0 win over Southern Indiana FC in the 111th Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. The club elevated him to the job on Tuesday. We talked about this following the departure of Danny Cruz. It was a first half brace from forward Tolo Showunmi was all that LouCity needed. And this one, the 20th and 30th minute goals were the Englishman's first competitive tally since returning to Louisville City in the off-season. Bird, the interim coach now, who's the new head coach, says, quote, "I think I need to sit down," after standing on the sideline for most of the game. He had been accustomed to sitting in the assistant's chair, but that obviously being moved now to the head coach. He goes, quote, "I think I need a beer and just to sit down, just to get used to the fact of being the head coach." LouCity Communications there with the coverage. 2-0 easy win there for LouCity. Little Rock Rangers took on FC Tulsa. And this one, it was Jamie Wetter who recorded a goal and an assist as FC Tulsa held off a spirited effort by USL League 2 side Little Rock Rangers. The Scissortails took the lead in the 19th minute when Harvey St. Clair tapped home a close range after a first-time pass back across from Bruno Lapa. The visitors then doubled the lead just past the half-hour mark when Weber powered home a sensational strike from 25 yards out in the top left corner of the net. Kissman scored in the 52nd minute for Little Rock Rangers to cut the deficit in half, but then Tulsa restored that 2-goal lead with 20 minutes to go when Lamar Batista headed home a free kick on the left side by Weber. But Little Rock struck again 5 minutes left in play as Aiden Turner put home a finish off a deflected initial shot by Antonio Natalucci. The hope proved short-lived for the hosts because within a minute, Nelson Pierre capped the scoring for Tulsa with his first goal of the club to secure its advancement to the second round. 4-2, the winners, FC Tulsa. In this one, San Antonio FC took on the ASC New Stars. It was, a sweeping victory for them at Toyota Field. Christian Sordo scored a pair of goals while 5 different players found the net for San Antonio. Alex Suahi volleyed home from close range. Kurt Kalov doubled the lead 8 minutes later. ASC New Stars had a chance to get back into the game early in the second half when Richard Sanchez conceded a penalty kick after bringing down Giovanni Macias in the box. But the veteran goalkeeper made up for the mistake with a good save to deny Macias that allowed his defense to clear the rebound. Then San Antonio pretty much received a penalty kick of its own in the 59th minute. That was dispatched by Sorto. And then it was just an onslaught of goals. Dimitri Arafeev struck shortly after coming on as a substitute. Sorto added his second off an assist by Arafeev in the 60th minute before E.J. Johnson capped the scoring 5 minutes later to secure a comfortable victory. Great performance by Sorto, 6-0 in this one. Besides the brace from Sorto, Kalov, Suai, Arafeev, and Johnson were on the score sheet. 6-0, 16 shots on target as well. This was a crazy one. New Mexico United taking on the Cruisers at UNM Soccer Complex. Christian Nava scoring a 90th minute winner in his first appearance for New Mexico United since 2023 to lift the host to a dramatic 3-2 victory against Cruisers FC to advance to the second round. New Mexico took an early lead in the 12th minute when a low cross from the right by Jake LaCava was turned into his own net by Cruisers defender Flores. The visitors hit back though 4 minutes later. It was former Oakland Roots forward Ariel Mbuma who scrambled home a finish from close range after United was unable to clear a low cross by Centennial. Then, boom, United regained the lead in the 38th minute as 19-year-old Grady Gilchrist scored his first goal for the club on a shot from the left side that took a wicked deflection from the top left corner of the net. Mbumba responded in first half stoppage time with his second of the game to get a brace as he broke in beyond the defense, fired it into the top right corner. So 2-2, and boom, New Mexico held up the upper hand in the second half. Unable to capitalize on the chances, Luther Archimedes hit the woodwork for the hosts with 3 minutes to go in regulation. But in the 90th minute, United delivered a winner with a well-worked move that saw Greg Hurst's knockdown header set up Nava on the left side of the box for a low finish on his return to secure the advancement for New Mexico with a dramatic 3-2 victory over the Cruisers. Sacramento Republic FC taking on El Farolito. Arguably, it was Sacramento, New Mexico who struggled the most out of USL Championship sides in the opening round. This one went to extra time. It was Ajago who broke the deadlock 5 minutes into extra time. However, as he headed home a precise cross from the left by Dominic Vonner from close range, and that was followed in the 102nd minute by a red card for El Farolito's Sacre that reduced the visitors to 10 players. Ajago wrapped up Sacramento's advancement in stoppage time. Meanwhile, as he charged down an attempt clearance inside the penalty area by Gonzalez, Farolito steered the ball into the open net, sending Republic FC through after 120 minutes of action, goals in the 95th minute as well as the last minute of regulation of the extra time to give Sacramento the victory at Heart Health Park. Battery took on the Badgers at Patriots Points. This was an interesting one. We had United States U20 international Colton Swan scoring his first 2 goals for Charleston Battery, including a dramatic winner in the 12th minute of second half stoppage time to lift the host to a tense victory against first-time Open Cup participants Badgers FC. The Battery opened to the front foot, finally broke the deadlock in the 21st minute when Swan tucked home a finish from close range after Nathan Messer's back post cross on the left was headed back across the top of the 6-yard box by Pakomov. After the Battery were unable to capitalize on numerous chances to add a lead, the Badgers found an equalizer on a brilliant curling finish by Altidore midway through the second half. As the game appeared to head to extra time, 90th plus 12, a corner kick from the right was headed goalward by Pakomov, and Swan was in the right place at the right time to convert and send the Battery through. So you can also add the Battery to the list of Sacramento and New Mexico for just kind of edging past their opponents in this one. But who made it comfortable? We mentioned a lot of teams: Colorado, Detroit, Rhode Island, Phoenix. How about Orange County against Laguna United at Championship Soccer Stadium? It was Stephen Kelly, Ryan Doman, and Chris Haggard who all found the net for Orange County in this one. They took control from the opening kickoff, made their control tell in the 25th minute when the breakthrough finally arrived when Kelly produced a well-struck finish from the top of the penalty area that picked out the bottom right corner of the net. 4 minutes later, the host struck again when Doman was in the right place at the right time after a shot from close range from Ethan Zubak and Jameer Johnson had efforts turned away. And then 15 minutes to go, boom, second round, they confirm it with a third goal. Haggard controlled the cross from Mamadou War in the center of the penalty area, showed off his composure, rounding the goalkeeper before finishing into the open net. 8 shots on target for Orange County, no shots on target for the visitors, Laguna United. In this one, 3-0, and they go to the second round. The biggest win, Lexington. Take a look at this storyline. We talked about Phoenix young players. We talked about United States U20 international Swan for Charleston. How about this from Lexington? The win equaling a victory. Insane here. If you look at the history of the U.S. Open Cup in terms of the biggest victories of all time, Lexington tied the record 9-0 against Flower City Union. On this one, Nick Firmino scored twice, while Philip Goodrum and Xavier Zengwe both notched a goal and an assist against Flower City Union. Lexington's win equals the 9-0 victory by Commonwealth Cup rival LouCity against Tartan Devils Oak Avalon in the second round of the 2017 tournament. That's how far it goes as the hosts outshot their visitors 38-3, racking up 5.9 expected goals on the night. So Firmino had a pair of goals, Malloy had a goal, Epps had a goal, Sengway had a goal, Goodrum, Ferry, Henry, Scott, and then Scott in the 83rd. Incredible stuff in this one. It was 3-0 the first half, 6-0 in the second half. Craziness. 9-0 win for Lexington as that team just looks ruthless so far to start out the U.S. campaign, the USL campaign, the U.S. Open Cup campaign. El Paso took on Laredo Heat on Thursday night. El Paso struck twice in the second half through Diego Abitia and Rubio Ruben to earn the victory against USL League 2 side Laredo Heat at PAG Soccer Energy Stadium in the first meeting between the West Texas clubs. 6 minutes into the second half, it was Abitia who found the net, shooting home from close range after Eric Calvillo's initial effort deflected nicely into the path of the Locomotive newcomer. The Locomotive wrapping up its second round position with a minute to go. Ruben continued his fast start to the campaign with his fourth goal in all competitions on a low shot to the left corner from the right side of the box. And there you go, all coverage from the USL Championship.com staff. But here's the good news, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, pending to see what happens with Steel City and Pittsburgh. All of USL Championship sides had won in the opening round, which is great to see. In the second round, this is where things get interesting. The draw took place on Friday. There will be 5 all-USL Championship matchups in the second round overall, but there is 3 regional rivalries all set to be played on the Wednesday night of April 1st. Should make for some must-see action. So here we go. In terms of some standout matches, we have the latest edition of the Derby del Camino Real that arrives at 9:30 Eastern p.m. as New Mexico hosts El Paso Locomotive FC, renewing the fiercest rivalry arguably in the league. Both making their debuts in 2019, New Mexico holds a narrow 7-5-7 record to lead the all-time series in USL Championship play, but Locomotive gained the upper hand when the sides met a season ago in the Open Cup, advancing in a penalty shootout after Wilmer Cabrera scored an equalizer deep in second half stoppage time to leave the teams all square after 120 minutes. We also have some other interesting matchups. So we have 4 contests in the second round where USL Championship and USL League 1 clubs will square off. A meeting between the 2024 USL Championship title winner Colorado Springs Switchbacks and 2-time USL 1 finalist Spokane LouCity FC in an intriguing first-time matchup that will feature on CBS Sports Network at 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night. Elsewhere, you have Charlotte Independence and Charleston Battery. They'll renew their acquaintances at American Legion Memorial Stadium. The Richmond Kickers will welcome Loudoun United to City Stadium. We also have Indy 11 to play host to Union Omaha as each club looks to advance to face opposition from Major League Soccer in the third round. Let's go through all the matches here in the second round of Lamar Hutt U.S. Open Cup. Tuesday, March 31st, so it'll either be Pittsburgh or Steel City. We'll find that answer out on the 25th of March against Virginia Dream at 7 p.m. Eastern. All these matches taking place at 7 p.m. Eastern, besides Charlotte Independence and Charleston Battery. They'll take place at 7:30 Eastern. And then you also have Valley 559 FC versus Sacramento Republic FC at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on CBS Sports Golazo Network. The other matches on Tuesday taking place at 7 p.m. Asheville City SC versus 1 Knoxville SC at 7 p.m. Eastern. You have FC Naples taking on FC America, CFL Spurs. You also have Indy 11 in action against Union Omaha at 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, March 31st. Wednesday, April 1st, we get started with Chattanooga FC taking on Tennessee Tempo FC at 6 p.m. Eastern. Richmond Kickers will host Loudoun United at 6:30 Eastern p.m. We have Rhode Island taking on Hartford Athletic. That's one of the other USL Championship intra-league matches there. Rhode Island host Hartford Athletic in that rivalry, 7 p.m. Eastern there. Vermont Green will take on Westchester SC at 7 p.m. Eastern at the same time. Lexington taking on Louisville City at 7 p.m. Eastern. Craziness also as that Commonwealth Cup happens as a rematch here in the U.S. Open Cup. 7 p.m. Eastern there for Lexington taking on Louisville. You also have Flint City Bucks taking on Detroit City FC, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, April 1st. That game will be on CBS Sports Golazo Network. We talked about Colorado Springs Switchbacks taking on Spokane Velocity, 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. San Antonio FC take on FC Tulsa. That's the other matchup. That'll be intra-league between USL Championship sides, 8:30 p.m. Eastern there for that one on Wednesday, April 1st. New Mexico will take on El Paso Locomotive at 9:30 Eastern. And then the final Boom, Orange County taking on Phoenix Rising FC, 10 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Golazo Network. But man, oh man, so much more interesting second round action. I mean, let's just hope the cream rises to the top. The better of the better USL Championship teams make their way through, so we can hopefully have a USL Championship team making a run in the US Open Cup. Let's talk about this match day and the reunions that it has brought. Obviously, week 3, where the first minute was not played in protest for the collective bargaining agreement between the Players Association and the USL, so that had taken place all across the fixtures this past weekend. We'll start with the 6-goal thriller in Louisville. That's right, with Bird's first USL Championship game, as well as Paulo Del Piccolo, after the departure of Danny Cruz. This one was a really, really good game. That's for sure. Congratulations if you had the time at your weekend to watch this one, or if you were even there at Lynn Family Stadium. But Louisville came out in the front foot, controlling possession, creating some early chances. But it was Rhode Island who landed the first punch in the 21st minute. Leo Afonso drove down left, cut the ball back to Jose Quizera, who picked out the top corner with a composed curling finish. Will certainly be on the goal of the week for week 3 shortlist, that's for sure. Rhode Island's first real look at goal turning into a statement opener. The lead did not last long, though. Just 2 minutes later, Louisville responded with urgency as Jake Morris combined in a quick give and go with Chris Donovan, who's been tremendous in his start for the Royal Purple. They broke through the back line, and Morris rifled his finish home to level things in the 23rd minute. And those were the only 2 goals in the first half, and it was both sides trading moments, and of course, but right out of halftime, Louisville struck again. Ray Serrano's footwork opened space in the right before a slick sequence found Jansen Wilson, who squared it across the goal for Zach Duncan to finish from close range. But once again, Rhode Island had an answer. In the 56th minute, Quizera forced a save from inside the box, and J.J. Williams reacted quickly to recycle the ball across goal, where Clay Holstad tapped home the equalizer to make it 2-2. Man, oh man, that left foot of Quizera was causing LouCity a bunch of trouble in this one. The game, though, began to tilt back in Louisville's favor as the minutes wore on. With 13 minutes left, Taylor Davila whipped in a dangerous free kick in the near post, and it was captain Kyle Adams who attacked it perfectly in the right place, right time, glancing a header inside that near post to restore the lead. Tensions then boiled over late in the match, as a heated exchange in the goalmouth resulted in a red card for J.J. Williams and the dismissal, as well a double yellow to the Rhode Island head coach Kano Smith, shifting momentum firmly towards the host. After the episode, it was, I think it was Holstad that originally got pushed into the net, losing his balance over there, and then it just pretty much prompted all players to meet inside the goalmouth. Kyle Adams was getting into it with a lot of the Rhode Island players, and he, in my opinion, was the one that got the tempers flaring when he mushed Holstad into the net, or if it was, I think, somebody else. It could have been Sean Tosh as well. But J.J. Williams, he got the red essentially for putting his hand near the throat or on the throat of Adams. It's hard to see from the angle, forcing Adams to the ground. Adams hits the canvas, immediately shoots his eyes while being, all bodies over him and so forth. He's on the ground. He's looking up to Jeremy Shear, the head official, to basically say, did you see that? Did you see what just happened? Jeremy Shear, once things would settle down, he'd pull over J.J. Williams, hand him his marching orders, and then obviously Kano Smith wanted an explanation, probably exchanged some harsh words, got a yellow, then a double yellow. He's out. The fact that no yellows were handed out to LouCity, though, hey, shocking to see that. But always interesting to when things just tempers flare, and you have to sort of control it as the head of official as best as you can. The best way you do that is through cards, but only one handed out here to J.J. Williams for a player, and then obviously the sending off for Kano Smith as well. So with the extra man control of the closing stage, as Louisville sealed the result in stoppage time, it was Ray Serrano who led the break. He found Jansen Wilson, who finished confidently to cap off a dramatic and hard-fought 4-2 victory. So a 6-goal shootout in Louisville. Set pieces proved decisive. Adams' late header from Davila's delivery, that was the go-ahead goal. That would seal the deal. Kyle Adams, smart as the captain, led by example with the match-winning header, strong defensive leadership, also doing his best to rile up the opposition and ensure that the drama was there for a reason. Jansen Wilson provided an assist, captain of the night with a stoppage time goal. Quizera looked good, man. Quizera looked good. Rhode Island FC kept setting up on the left foot of his. And then Clay Holstad, alert and clinical to equalize, keep Rhode Island in the match. And Simon Bird takes over, as we know, as the interim head coach for LouCity. And what he had said was he was immensely proud of the boys for getting the 3 points in a comeback manner. His first win in the USL Championship. 4-2 the score in favor of Louisville. Brooklyn taking on Hartford at Miami Knights Park in Brooklyn. This one was a good one. Obviously, Brooklyn's looking to build momentum again at home after their first ever win against Indy 11, but it was Hartford Athletic who came out sharper, controlling the tempo early on. The visitors struck first when Augie Williams finished a fast-moving attack passed by Barry Coffey, the Irishman, before Brooklyn could fully regroup. Hartford then doubled their advantage. It was Barry Coffey this time. Now the assist turns into the goal, rising to meet a corner from Sebastian Anderson on that far left side and the right side of the attack for Hartford. He headed home, Barry Coffey, a beautiful header to give the visitors firm control heading into halftime with a 2-goal lead. Coming out of the break, Brooklyn flipped the script. Their persistence finally paid off just past the hour mark when Brooklyn native Marcus Anderson fired a precise finish into the top corner off of a breakaway to bring Brooklyn back into the match and ignite the crowd. But it was too little too late. Backed by a standout goalkeeping performance, the visitors, Hartford, weathered the storm and escaped the hard-earned 2-1 victory. Anthony Siaha, outstanding performance with 10 saves on the night, including a crucial late stop to secure the win. Barry Coffey looked great here. He was influential in both goals, but props to Marcus Anderson. He scores the first open play goal for Brooklyn in the USL Championship. And you ask yourself the question, how did Brooklyn lose a game they largely controlled? Because they did have a lot of possession. They did have more of the shots here. But it came to efficiency versus volume, right? Brooklyn generated a massive amount of chances, but Hartford were ruthless. They only needed were 2 good chances. Augie Williams, you can give him half a chance, and in more situations than not, he'll find the back of the net somehow. But 2 shots on goal from them, 2 goals, and then Anthony Siaha has no problem when you give him a lead in terms of holding it there in between the pipes. So 2-1 for the visitors in this one at Brooklyn. Tampa Bay Rowdies taking on Pittsburgh. Tampa Bay Rowdies announced on Wednesday, though, the addition of attacking midfielder Mateus Oliveira to the squad for the 2026 season. Oliveira was a trialist for the Rowdies throughout preseason. He appeared in several of the club's preseason contests, even recorded an assist in the preseason win over FC Naples. The 31-year-old midfielder was most recently with Emirati side Al Nassr in the United Arab Emirates Pro League. Although his name is not the same, you might recognize his father for all those people that really love football in the 90s, especially in Brazil. He's the son of former Brazilian player Bebeto and became widely known just days after his birth, obviously because his father, Bebeto, had the cradle-rocking celebration when scoring the crucial goal against the Netherlands in the 94 World Cup. Bebeto's a classic 90s footballer. You have YouTube. Go look up all of his goals. He's had over 70 appearances for Brazil, 39 goals representing Brazil as well. Born in Rio de Janeiro, Oliveira, though, his son began his professional career with Flamengo back in 2012. After several seasons with the Brazilian Giants, he became a regular contributor while on loan to Estoril in Portugal's top division. Since then, he's been signed by Sporting Club Portugal, obviously Sporting in Portugal, where Cristiano Ronaldo first started his career back in 2000. I don't know what it was, but for Oliveira, he was there. Didn't play too much because he kept just joining, other sides on loan in Portugal, or as well as the Brazilian club Coritiba for separate loan spells. And now he's made the move back to United Arab Emirates in 2000. I think it was 14. But he came then also to other teams in Portugal. He wasn't on the team sheet for this one, but certainly a player to look out for your Tampa Bay Rowdies fans. We'll see if he has any impact. It'll be a tough team to break into because Tampa Bay at the moment are flying off the rails, all for the good reasons in this one. I mean, when you have a front four of Pedro de la Bella, Marco Micheletto, Russell Cicerone, and Sebastian Cruz, with a double pivot of Max Schneider, Lewis Hilton, it's a really fun team to watch this season. I just think. And you have Evan Conway off the bench, Matt Myers off the bench in this one. So relentless from the Rowdies. They outshot visitors, Pittsburgh, defending champions 17-2 in front of a capacity crowd of 6,267 in the attendance. Saturday's contest looked to be heading for a scoreless stalemate at halftime until Micheletto combined with Cicerone for the opening strike. As the halftime whistle neared, Micheletto collected a loose ball in Pittsburgh's defensive third, curled it for a cross into the box for Cicerone to head into the back of the net. The go-ahead goal was Russell's 70th career regular season goal in the league. So tremendous stuff from Cicerone there. He went on to nab his first assist for the green and gold as well in the second half. It was Tampa Bay's second scoring sequence, which started from their own defensive end when defender Brian Schaefer played a ball into space for Cicerone, who took the ball in stride and carried it forward into the attacking half before threading a pass into open space for MD Myers to blast past the goalkeeper. The first time finish from the top of the box. Myers came off the bench only 11 minutes before his tally was making his Rowdies debut. He wasn't the only one to score in this first appearance for the Rowdies. Newcomer Evan Conway came off the bench in the 90th minute, notched the goal just 4 minutes later, redirecting a cross from Myers on frame and across the line for Rowdies' third of the night. 3 goals to the good, 3 points to the good. The Rowdies are now unbeaten through the first 2 matches of the season with 2 shutout victories. Last year, it took the Rowdies until mid-June to surpass 5 points in league standings. From control to collapse, talking about Birmingham and their visit to Patriots Point against Charleston. Legion came out firing on all cylinders, executing their game plan to perfection. In the opening half hour, the visitors struck first through Mario Williams, and just minutes later, Samuel Shashua doubled the advantage, capping off a dominant stretch where Birmingham looked sharp, organized, fully in control, leading into halftime and 2-0. But then Charleston began to grow into the match just before halftime and carried that momentum into the second half. Waves of attack, service into the box, forcing Birmingham deeper and deeper. The breakthrough then came finally when the U20 United States International Colton Swan, who had scored midweek in U.S. Open Cup action, reacted quickest to rebound to pull one back and start building and capitalizing the momentum that Battery was generating. From there, it became a siege. Charleston continued to push, eventually leveling through Emilio Icaza from the penalty spot before Icaza struck again in stoppage time to complete a dramatic comeback and secure a 3-2 victory. I have no idea what's in the water over there at Charleston, or if it's just the unluckiness of Birmingham Legion, because there's some good spells from the side of Alabama, right? It's just that somehow, some way, Charleston often find these crazy ways to come back and things. It'll be very interesting to pay attention to how Birmingham manage multiple goal leads moving forward. Obviously, you don't want to be a team that's notable for dropping leads when being in open positions. But Charleston, they were relentless. They did have 28 shots tonight, 4.4 expected goals that did overwhelm the Alabama side. Colton Swan has been in form. He sparked a comeback, but from Birmingham Legion sides, Cole Lotz kept his side in the game with 7 saves under heavy pressures. Shashua looked good. Williams looks good up top for Birmingham so far this season. So the question is, did Birmingham lose control after such a dominant start? I think it comes down to game management and momentum. They executed great. It was just a good first half, but a bad second half. But the dropping deeper invited a little bit of pressure. Without sustained possession, the defensive line constantly under stress. And with that, hey, it just happens. But Birmingham's Jay Heaps described it as, and quote, a tale of two halves, pointing to struggles dealing with Charleston's service into the box and the impact of what was a key injury for the Birmingham side. Charleston's Ben Pierman admitted the first half was poor, but praised his team's resilience, energy, and ability to respond under pressure. Icaza also coming here with a brace, so tremendous performance from him. Indy 11 taking on Detroit at Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Boys in blue, midfielder Josh O'Brien set up for the first goal of the game, the 43rd minute, with a run up the right sideline, hesitating and then playing a cheeky ball behind the defensive line to the box near the end line that forward Bruno Rendon chased down and chipped to the near post, and that's where forward Dylan Singh headed it home for his first Indy 11 goal. But Detroit would answer quickly after the interval, leveling in the 56th minute when Darren Smith swept home a low ball from, originally it was from Kobe Hernandez-Foster, really nice diagonal. Darren Smith chests it down really nicely, and then calm, cool, collected prior to tucking it home in that far left corner. The lead, though, short-lived after Darren Smith's goal. Bryan set up for another goal in the 62nd, heading in a bad clearance, top of the box, right to Rendon, who chested it down and struck a left-footed half-volley laser for the game winner, sent the home crowd into a frenzy, that's for sure. In the 67th minute, Detroit almost equalized shortly after, 5 minutes after to be quite exact, from a dead ball situation in an outswinger from 30 yards out, ricocheting from the right side, hitting the outside right post. Kobe Hernandez-Foster was behind the shot there, but didn't equal the contest. Indy would hold on for all 3 points. Goalkeeper Eric Dick made 3 saves to earn the victory for his side as well. It was Devin Amumensa who had made the mistake of the poor clearance that eventually made it to Josh O'Brien and to Bruno Rendon for the home side in this one. So there you go. Indy take the lead and take all 3 points against Detroit. Sacramento taking on Monterey Bay. Monterey did announce on Wednesday that they had signed forward Riley Bidois for the upcoming season. Bidois spent the last 2 seasons playing for Loudoun United FC, where he recorded 11 goals and 4 assists in 58 appearances across all competitions. In the 2025 season, he appeared in 35 matches and scored 9 goals with 2 assists in approximately 1,400 minutes of action, helping Loudoun reach the USL Championship playoffs for the first time in history. He starts this one on the bench for Monterey Bay as the visitors took on Sacramento. A notable appearance we'll talk as well for some people returning, but we'll get into the matchup first. Sacramento Republic came out in the front foot with the host coming close multiple times. Michel Benitez saw a header glance off the post in the 44th minute, while Foster Ajago had a close-range effort blocked as Sacramento pushed for a deserved opener. But the breakthrough did finally come in the second half, and it was a well-worked sequence. In the 62nd minute, Ajago initiated the move by winning an aerial duel, flicking the ball on before continuing his run down the right side. Rodriguez picked it up, split the defense with a nice weighted volley pass. Ajago is out, he powers through, he takes it close to goal. Delgado comes off his line, but to no avail. Ajago finds his 5-hole, puts it in between the keeper's legs, and that one gives Sacramento the lead in this one. But then Monterey Bay, they found a way back late, and a lot of it was substitutions. And when you have, look at what came off. You had 2 former Loudoun players, Riley Bidois coming off the bench, Wesley Leggett came off the bench. Nick Ross came off the bench as well. I'm talking about the Nick Ross that Sacramento Republic fans knows for, the many seasons he played there from 22 to 25. Over 120 appearances, 9 goals for the Republic. And he came off the bench. You had obviously one of the transfers, arguably of the offseason with experience, Sebastian Leggett coming off the bench. So it was a young Monterey Bay side that we've been accustomed to in the first half, but then the second half, experience came in, and experience, we can say delivered in the 84th minute. Direct sequence caught Sacramento off guard. It was a long punt from Delgado that eventually made it to Wesley Leggett. He flicks it to Riley Bidois. Bidois flicks it back to Leggett, and they finish, boom, just like that. 1-2 off of a long punt. No problem there. 1-1. For Monterey Bay, they equalized. The drama didn't end there, though. Just minutes later, Monterey Bay were awarded a penalty after Bidois was pulled down by Kleeman in the box, giving the Union a golden opportunity to steal all 3 points. But when you have to go against Danny Vitiello, it's tough. I can't believe it was Ross who steps up, the former Sacramento player. He goes for the shot, shoots low and left. Danny Video makes the save. The rebound falls for Nick Ross, and he smacks it, and it hits the top of the crossbar, goes over the goal. Man, oh man, misses a golden opportunity there to give all 3 points to Monterey Bay against his former club. And there you go. There you have it. It ends 1-1 in Sacramento at Heart Health Park. But some key takeaways. The Ajago Rodriguez connection was key to breaking down Monterey Bay. I'm talking Arturo Rodriguez and Foster Ajago. A lot of success found on that right side. Monterey Bay showed resilience. Benoit making a great debut. Vidiello, as always. Danny Vidiello will steal a spotlight any way he can with a late penalty save. Crucial in securing at least a point. It wasn't just Nick Ross returning to take on his former side. Also, Mayela Malongo, who was arguably Monterey Bay's standout player last year, playing against his former side here in Monterey Bay. 9 shots in the night for Sacramento, 12 shots in the night for Monterey Bay. The difference, though, only 2 shots from each side finding the back of the net. Tulsa taking on Las Vegas at One Oak Field. This one, a back-and-forth battle, that's for sure. Las Vegas struck first in the 32nd minute when Johnny Rodriguez finished a well-worked move from Mark Ibarra to break the lines. Rodriguez's shot deflected firm from outside the box and into the back of the net. And then just before halftime, Tulsa found their response. Khalil Medkar reacting quickest to chaos in the box, something that Tulsa has thrived on in becoming Western Conference champions last time around. In 2025 season, they bring the hosts level. Heading into the break, in the 61st minute, Owen Dom delivered a precise ball in the box for Remy Cabral, who rose to head home and give Tulsa the lead. That advantage, however, though, short-lived. Just 5 minutes later, Rodriguez turned provider, setting up Abraham Okieri to finish and bring Las Vegas back level at 2-2. Okieri was receiving the ball at the top of the box. Great composure to fake the shot on the right and then place it with his left in the bottom left corner. He's been in form back-to-back games with goals for him for Las Vegas. Both teams pushing for a win, and the match opened up late. Tulsa's persistence paid off in the 82nd minute when Pierre backrolled a clever pass into Dom's presence, and on the left side of the box, Dom struck it first time, powering it inside the near post to secure a dramatic 3-2 victory and cap off a thrilling night at One Oak Field. A really, really nice goal from Owen Dom. Will definitely be on the short list, as well as Quizera, as well as Rondon as well for Indy 11. It's going to be a tough choice for a goal of the week 3. Mark my words there. I think what made the difference in such a tightly contested match was execution in key moments. Both teams obviously created chances, had spells of control, but Tulsa were sharper when it mattered, especially late, Owen Dom taking the headlines here. His composure in the final third ultimately was the thing that separated both sides. I think there's a lot of positives Las Vegas can take. They play well. It's just that at certain times you really need to manage the game. And maybe think we can do a 2-2 draw. Not the end of the world here. Can we, same thing with the visit to Colorado, as opposed to exposing yourself and going for it and, losing all 3 points. San Antonio taking on New Mexico United at Toyota Field. This one, a good match at Saturday night. It was a rematch of last season's Western Conference quarterfinal. From the opening whistle, though, the hosts, San Antonio, were looking to set the tone. They pressed high, forced Chris Shakes, the New Mexico goalkeeper, into action early. New Mexico's best first half moment came just before the break. Greg Hurst rose for a header and looked destined to test the host, but goalkeeper Joey Batruni for San Antonio came up with a stop to preserve the deadlock. Second half would then take place. Shakes again had to be sharp, producing another strong save before Captain Will Seymour helped clear the danger. Then United began to grow in the match from there. Dayon Harris forcing Batruni into another key save as the visitors searched for a breakthrough of their own. Still, San Antonio kept coming, and the warning signs were there. Santiago Patino rattled the woodwork in the 56th minute, and the hosts continued to lead on their set pieces and sustained territorial pressure. Eventually, the pressure told. In the 74th minute, Jorge Hernandez whipped in a corner kick. I think it was a direct kick, actually. And Danny Barbier rose to head home for his first goal of the club, finally giving San Antonio the advantage they had been chasing all night. New Mexico tried to push late. Zico Bailey struck a free kick off the bar in the 93rd minute, but San Antonio survived the final surge, backed by Batruni's saves, and our defense has stayed organized under pressure. The hosts closed out a 1-0 win. San Antonio controlling the flow of the match for long stretches, outshooting New Mexico 20-10, leading in the shots on target 9-4. Chris Shakes, though, did keep New Mexico alive. Huge night in goal, 8 saves despite the loss. Joey Petruni delivered another composed performance in between the pipes for San Antonio, making key saves for his second straight clean sheet. Some performances, obviously, to keep in mind of Shakes. Petruni did have 4 saves for the night as well. Jorge Hernandez, as always, for San Antonio, a threat, but Danny Barbier as well for San Antonio, scoring the game-winning goal. Carlos Lemos had this to say. He said that San Antonio's plan was to press New Mexico high and never let them get comfortable in possession. He felt the side executed that approach for most of the match. He also emphasized at halftime that with so many corners and free kicks, the team had to take advantage of one of them. And that's what they did. Mikey Maldonado also, don't forget him, playing for San Antonio. From his side of things, he highlighted the importance of starting fast and said the squad's defensive commitment was foundational, stressing that if the group embraces the dirty work, quote, the attacking quality will eventually take care of itself. Carlos Tenorio II from New Mexico's United's press release, as well as San Antonio FC Communications with the coverage there. All of this coverage coming from these official press releases. Orange County taking on Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Heartbreak in the 89th for the Switchbacks. Punished late in a tight battle. We also had reunions over here because guess who was in between the pipes for Colorado? That's right, the former Orange County goalkeeper Colin Shuttler. It was the game's low moment of real danger. Came in the 5th minute. Chris Hagart unleashed a right-footed shot from the left side of the box. His shot expertly denied by the Switchbacks goalkeeper Colin Shuttler, who made a sharp diving save to his bottom left to keep the match level. Shuttler was and is, one of the greatest goalkeepers in Orange County's history. The club's all-time leading goalkeeper with 25 clean sheets and 61 appearances in all competitions. He was also the first Orange County goalkeeper to score a goal. Let's not forget that, too, from the opening weekend back in 2024. But now playing for the Switchbacks here, and Orange County need to find the goods from somewhere. And take a look at this. With just minutes left, a late sequence inside the box from a poor-headed clearance from Talon Maples, of all people, fell really nicely to Tyson Espy, who capitalized and found the net from the half volley, handing Orange County a dramatic 1-0 victory, leaving Colorado Springs frustrated after a strong overall performance, you could say. Good defensive performance, but it was a gift from Talon Maples, the new signing from New Mexico. No shutout for Colin Shuttler on his return to Orange County, but the big thing we have to keep in mind here is the goal scorer, Tyson Espy, delivering the decisive late goal, 16 years old, who spent his youth career with Los Angeles FC. The first goal for the teenager in the orange jerseys was recently called up for the United States U17 men's national team camp in Paraguay. Danny Stone, head coach, had said that Tyson Espy does not get flustered. Not that much of an emotional guy, and it seemed like he needed permission to celebrate even more, which was just a great moment for the teenager. He hits this half volley in the low bottom right side of the net, beats Shuttler, stands there, celebrates, and then it seems like you should run to the corner. You should even soak in this moment a little bit more. It's not often you score 90th minute winners. Maybe he's like, you're right, I don't know about this. I'm just 16 years old. Incredible stuff. Jameer Johnson as well from Orange County was called up into the U18 men's national team roster for the March training camp in Portugal. So Orange County producing the goods as well as Phoenix as two sides with solid, promising youth players. Phoenix taking on Oakland. Talk about them. And this one at 38th Street in Washington, about halfway through the first frame, Roots started to dominate the pitch in earnest, spending plenty of time in the attacking third, creating scoring chances in quick succession. In the 43rd minute, Oakland finally capitalized on their sustained pressure when Prentice found a shot from inside close after receiving a cross from Jaruhanga, who drove furiously through the box before delivering service just before reaching the end line to make it 1-0 for the Roots. Good solid goal there from Wolfgang Prentice. Roots doubled their lead just moments later into added time of the first half, and Wolfgang Prentice was involved yet again, earning his third goal contribution of the year after sending a perfect cross into the box from the left side to find a leaping Julian Bravo, who finished a bouncing header to make it 2-0. Down 2-0 entering the 85th minute, midfielder Diego Gomez ignited Rising's comeback with a well-struck goal that found the side netting, found himself on the left side, dribbling on an angle towards his D, and then just picked out the open corner behind the Swiss goalkeeper Raphael Spiegel to cut the deficit in half. Then deep into stoppage time, Phoenix, they found the equalizer. It was Charlie Dennis who chipped the ball toward the far post, where second half substitute Gunnar Studenhoft rose to head home and complete the comeback. It was another late rescue act for Phoenix Rising in this one. They stormed back from 2-0 down as a late Studenhoff header denies Oakland in a 2-2 draw. Lots to talk about there, but obviously I think this was more about Phoenix resilience or Oakland letting control slip. I think it was both, but Phoenix deserves real credit for changing the rhythm after halftime, for going at it in the end to give their home fans something to be proud of and capitalize their chances to split the points with Oakland in this one. Elsewhere, splitting the points goes to Loudoun taking on Miami. Budry stands tall. Miami they nearly stole a late in the counterattack, but Adam Budry came up big when it mattered most, commanding his box, making some key stops to preserve the clean sheet. Loudoun threw numbers forward in the closing minutes, forcing corners, applying pressure, but couldn't find the breakthrough as both sides settled for a 0-0 draw. In Virginia, 3 shots on target for Loudoun, 11 shots on target in the night for Miami. 7, though, of those shots were blocked from Loudoun's side of things, so they had some good defensive work that was done. 5 yellow cards for the host in this one, but also look for defensive contributions from Dalton Knudsen, who had 12 in the night, 3 tackles, 1 block, 3 recoveries. You had also Angelo Calfo in this one as well. 8 clearances from Knudsen in the night, 6 clearances from Calfo. Just tremendous stuff from those two in the back line for Miami. But Adam Budry outstanding with 10 saves on the night. Eloy Room for Miami, also a strong performance, organizing defense, denying multiple of Loudoun's chances. I think the big one here was Richie Amon. Richie Amon. It's tough because Trevor Amon, I know, is in the league. He's got the 2 ends. But Richie Amon or Richie Amen. If someone knows that they're from Loudoun, I'm going to take a look back at the highlights, see if I can find it, because noted from his side, he had a solid first professional start, contributing to the build-up and defensive work. The loanee from DC United, 22-year-old, created 3 chances in this one, 4 out of 6 successful dribbles on the night after spending 4 years at the University of Washington from 22 to 25, scoring 8 goals, 23 assists across 81 appearances. He was the 8th pick for DC United in the draft. And boom, now he's finding himself on loan in the USL Championship, the former Big Ten Midfielder of the Year, all Big Ten first team honors, and a semifinalist for the Mac Herman Trophy for the University of Washington as well. So what the manager said, Anthony Limbrick, described the result as feeling, end quote, a little bit like a loss, end quote, emphasizing the need for more quality and consistency in the final third, but a 0-0 result nonetheless. We'll take a look at the league table as well as the goal scorers for this one. We have the top goal scorer at the moment, a couple. Abraham Okiere for Las Vegas with 3, Darren Smith with 3, Rubio Rubin with 3. So those are your guys at the moment leading the lines for the most goals scored. Assist-wise, we have a couple double assists, a lot actually. Taylor Davila, Samuel Williams of Colorado, Ray Serrano, Jansen Wilson of LouCity, Christian Piranio of San Antonio, Arturo Rodriguez of Sacramento. But yeah, 3 of Louisville's players, Serrano, Wilson, Davila, both having multiple assists so far early on in this season. Table-wise, LouCity lead the charge. Despite Danny Cruz's departure, Bird gets the job done. 3 wins from 3, 10 goals scored as well. 9 points to the good for them. They lead the Eastern Conference. Right behind them, though, is the undefeated Hartford Athletic with a win, draw, and win so far in 3 matches played. Charleston, back-to-back wins. Tampa Bay, back-to-back wins. Brooklyn, after 3 games played, find themselves 3 points. Back-to-back losses, though. They'll take on the Lexington side next. They find themselves in 5th place in the Eastern Conference with 3 points. Who else has 3 points from 2 matches played? Well, just look at Detroit. Look at Indy 11. But from Pittsburgh's side of things, they have 1 win and 2 losses, similar to Brooklyn. They find themselves with 3 points after 3 matches played. Birmingham Legion then are in 9th place with 1 point after 3 games played. The rest, Loudoun, Miami, Rhode Island, and Sporting Jacks, all with 2 matches played and 1 point. Those are the teams at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. On the Western side of things, a lot of teams undefeated, but no teams like LouCity that have all wins. Instead, it's just a win-win draw, a win-draw, win, a draw-draw, win, win-draw-draw, whatever it is. But here it is. Oakland Roots at the top with 7 points, as well as San Antonio, both tied at the top of the Western Conference. Then in 5 points in third place tied at the moment, Orange County and Sacramento Republic, both having 5 points from 3 matches played. Mid-table now, we get into Colorado Springs Switchbacks, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. They have themselves 4 points to the good, as well as El Paso Locomotive, but El Paso has the game in hand. FC Tulsa, 3 matches played, same thing, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. They'll take on Phoenix next, who are right behind them in the table. Phoenix at 3 matches played, 2 draws, 1 loss with 2 points. Then bottom of the Western Conference table, it is after 3 matches played, Las Vegas Lights with only 1 point. Then you'll have, after 2 matches played with 1 point, Lexington. 11th place, you have Monterey Bay with their first point of the season in the road matchup against Sacramento. They find themselves in 11th place. And New Mexico are bottom of the Western Conference after back-to-back losses to start their season. Not typical from the New Mexico side, but we'll see what happens if they can turn things around. How can they turn things around? Where can they turn things around? Well, let's just take a look at the next upcoming matches in the championship. Wednesday, March 25th, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, Lexington hosts Brooklyn. At the same time, in Florida, I should say half an hour later, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, Sporting Jacksonville return, and they host their rivals. A derby matchup, we can say, in the state of Florida. Sporting Jackson taking on Miami FC. That should be a very good one midweek on Wednesday, March 25th. Don't forget also, Pittsburgh will take on Steel City at the same time. Actually, not the same time, but 7 p.m. in the U.S. Open Cup. Let's not forget that. Saturday, March 28th. This is how things will look in the championship. Saturday for the boys, Saturday for the USL. New Mexico United hosts Colorado Springs Switchbacks at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific on Saturday, March 28th. Detroit will host Charleston Battery at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. Hartford hosts Indy 11, Saturday, March 28th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. Pittsburgh hosts Sporting Jacks at the same time. That's right, at the same time. Miami will host Rhode Island. Half an hour later, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, Tampa Bay Rowdies takes on Loudoun United FC. Brooklyn will take on LouCity at the same time in Brooklyn. That should be a very good matchup as well. First time Brooklyn have a chance against defending Player Shield champions LouCity. Then you have FC Tulsa taking on Phoenix Rising, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Saturday. At the same time, Oakland Roots will host Orange County. And then Sacramento Republic hosts El Paso Locomotive at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Saturday. Saturday night, we'll have Las Vegas Lights take on Monterey Bay at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. I think there's one other matchup here that I am missing that's on Sunday. I just quickly check. I might be wrong. Yes, I am wrong. So actually, no, I am right. Excuse me. San Antonio will host Lexington on Sunday. I'm getting the Central European time. I have to do some math in my head. We still are on daylight savings. Double check the San Antonio game, but it should be at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sunday, March 29th. Don't quote me on that, but around that time. It's just sometimes I get the European times, and that really throws me off. I need to take a break. I need to take a breath. Guys, thanks so much for listening, for making it all the way to the end of the show. I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, we have a guest right around the corner, so I'm so excited to release that and get working on it as well. Have a great, great week. Enjoy the rest of the March while we have it. And sooner or later, we'll be in April. But hey, for now, enjoy. All the best. Bye-bye.